everybody, it's Dean. Welcome to Bring Back Rock. Today we're talking about a band that a lot of you requested for a long time. They definitely have a cult following among fans of the genre. If you like sleazy, dirty, aggressive rock and roll, street metal is how they dub their music. This band is for you, and that first album especially. This is Spread Eagle, and let's not waste any more time. Let's get talking about them. All right. To talk about Spread Eagle, we have to go back and set the stage with two different bands. The first one was Bang out of Boston. They're one of the most popular local bands, along with Extreme, in Boston area. Showcasing for labels, selling out shows, coming very close to that elusive record deal, but not quite getting there. The band eventually split, and guitarist Paul DiBartolo moved to New York City, where another band resided. This band was called Fox Hunt and featured singer Ray West. Now, apparently this band had some members with some substance issues, and this led to their guitarist, who wasn't very reliable, to split. So Paul got tapped by their manager to replace the guitarist, and he joined Fox Hunt. Not long after, however, the original guitarist wanted back in the band. The management tried to have their cake and eat it too by having both guitarists, but I heard this in a Ray West story. He said after about one practice, Paul said, "Screw this isn't working, I'm out." But he left very impressed with Ray West. Paul's Bang bandmates were summoned up to New York to cut a demo and to be introduced to singer Ray West. Paul's Bang bandmates were Rob DeLuca on bass and Tommy Gallo on drums. So they headed up to New York to cut a demo, and they tapped Ray West to sing on the demo. Now the guys in Bang were a tight machine after playing so long in Bang together, but they brought Ray West in. He finished lyrics and wrote lyrics for the songs. They just had a handful of tunes, and they all agreed this was sounding really, really good. Matter of fact, it was sounding so good that unreliable guitarist from Fox Hunt entered the studio while they're doing like vinyl mixes, heard what they said, and I don't know if he told or asked Ray. Well, I guess that's it then. And Ray said, yeah. And a new band was formed. Ray West on vocals, Paul DiBartolo on guitar, Rob DeLuca on bass, Tommy Gallo on drums. They started writing and rehearsing and sort of showcasing. You see, their manager knew a bunch of people in the record business, and he'd invite them to check out the practices to show off the band. One of these people was Bruce Dickinson. No, not him. Nope, not him either. That's Christopher Walken playing a guy named Bruce Dickinson. This Bruce Dickinson was VP of A&R at MCA. He showed up with a girl, apparently, to the rehearsal, and after hearing the rehearsal, the lady said, "I find you offensive, but I have to sign you." And on the strength of 5 or 6 songs in that practice they watched, they got their record deal. They never even played a gig together. They had some booked outside of New York just to get their feet wet and get their show down before they brought them into the New York clubs. But once they got the record deal, they canceled all those gigs. And they headed into the recording studio to finish writing the songs. Like I said, they only had a few songs written. Now, this is just my opinion, but I think they were looked at as the East Coast or New York version of Guns N' Roses. They were sleazy. They lived in a seedy part of town near the river, so rats were often roommates. The experience and the city seemed to permeate the songs and become what they dubbed street metal, which seems appropriate. So as I said, they were signed with a couple of songs only, never played together, and they didn't even have a name for the band. Now, eventually they did get a name for the band, recorded the album, and it came out as a self-titled album, Spread Eagle, in 1990. Now, soon after the album was released, a bus appeared to take the boys to their first gig, opening for Vane in Portland. Saying goodbye to girlfriends and wives, "Oh, I'll miss you, I love you," blah, blah, blah. Ray said something about the tour bus. As soon as those doors close, it is on. Girlfriends forgotten, the party begins, en route to trying to take on the world. And the rock bus drivers, apparently it's kind of a small group. They all know each other, and they all know the hole-in-the-wall strip clubs and party places and take the bands to all of them. The boys financed, with help of their friends and family, a performance video for Scratch Like a Cat. When the self-titled album was released in 1990, a video was made for Switchblade Serenade by the record company. Tommy Gallo credited with coming up for the cover design of the album. Tommy Gallo also left before album number 2. Open to the Public was released in 1992 with John Macaluso of TNT and Tommy Price of Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. They handled most of the drumming duties for the album. Here's an interesting story I found. A song on album number 2 is called If I Can't Have You. It was inspired by their next door neighbor, Daniel Rakowitz. I don't know if the name rings a bell, but he was a local pot dealer always trying to sell the band pot, and he was nuts. He killed his roommate and possible live-in girlfriend, chopped her up, made her into soup, which he consumed and served to the homeless in the park near their apartments. He was, of course, caught and tried and found guilty, and he's not on the streets. All right. Album number 2 was a big jump musically for the band, especially with the changing grunge scene. It took a more modern sound and didn't go over as well with the fans that they had already had. The band broke up in 1995. In 2006, Ray West and bassist Rob DeLuca reformed the band. The other players passed. Rick DeLuca took over on drums, and after a few guitar changes, Ziv Shaliv, I believe is how you pronounce it, took over in 2012 and remained until 2022. In 2019, they released album number 3, Subway to the Stars, on Frontier Records. Musically, it kind of fits between album number 1 and album number 2. This band is still out there touring America, Europe, and recently did the Monsters of Rock cruise. So what else have the guys from Spread Eagle been doing? Well, Rob DeLuca has gone on to play with UFO, Sebastian Bach, Joan Jett, and George Lynch. Ray West, he just released an album with a side band called Supafly, S-U-P-A-F-L-Y, in 2024. Tommy Gallo, he's still playing in local rock bands. And Paul DeBartolo now goes by the name Salvador Poe. I'm not sure if he resides in India or just spends a lot of time there. He's recorded an album with Lisa Ekdahl, his wife at the time. She's a Swedish singer. His headspace just is not musically in rock currently, so he just passed on rejoining the band and is doing his own thing. All right, so let's listen to some music samples by Spread Eagle, and then I'll catch up with you guys at the end of the video.
Switchblade,
right, that's a little bit about New York Spread Eagle. Where can you find them? Well, really, you can find all their CDs fairly reasonably priced. 20 bucks or less, probably, somewhere in that range. If you're looking for vinyl, though, forget it. That's upwards of $100 to $200 I saw it for. Everything else you can find pretty readily. It's on all the streaming services. All 3 of the albums, you can find them on there. So that's not going to break the bank. Once again, just thank you, everybody, for liking, subscribing, sharing, whatever you're doing to help spread the word. I appreciate you guys, and we'll catch you on the next episode.